My name is Jay Bachochin. I'm an investigator in Wisconsin who's searching for the truth.
My name is Phil Schomber. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'm the adult programmer here at Hedberg, and it's my pleasure to be able to introduce our speaker tonight, Jay Bachochin.
Bachochin.
Bachochin. I knew I was. We had talked about it ahead of time.
Call me anything but late for dinner. I'm good.
Jay is a paranormal investigator, and he's going to share his experience searching for the Wisconsin Sasquatch. And so with that, let me turn it over to Jay to get us started.
All right. Thank you guys all for coming. First, he introduced me, but I always say my name is Jay Bachochin, and I am of sound mind. Before we begin, I always start with that because, a lot of times when you mention Bigfoot, it's the butt end of a joke. And honestly, up until 10 years ago, I could believe in ghosts and aliens and everything, but as far as Bigfoot, it was a hoax to me. But I'm gonna kind of take you through my journey, because this is really what I like to do. It's not so much to get up here and try to convince anybody that Bigfoot is real, but it's what I've experienced. So let me just kind of start by, let me turn this on first. Okay. Now, I grew up in the 70s as a kid. I watched the creature features. Anybody old enough will remember that. Anybody young enough is saying, where's the color? But it is there. And, so I was always that kid who was not outside in the summer playing baseball or softball or riding bikes. I'd be in the basement waiting for the next Godzilla movie to come on, because I was just fascinated with that. And then, growing up, it's like I always had that fascination of believing in like ghosts, the Loch Ness Monster, UFOs. And I always saw Bigfoot, but to me, again, Bigfoot was always a joke, because how many people have been out there searching for this, this upright, beast, hairy man, and all people are finding is footprints, maybe some hair, maybe some scat. But either or, it's like it's still all inconclusive. So that is the way I perceived what Bigfoot was. But throughout my life, this is one of my favorite quotes ever, and not just for Bigfoot or anything supernatural, but pretty much for life, where it's all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them, so we can sit back and hear the white noise or the hubbub of what's going on out there, but is it real? That's where we have to go out and discover what the truth is. And that led me to 2007. We're going to go in the Wayback Machine here, which doesn't seem that long ago, honestly. But me and my wife, we were on an East Coast honeymoon in 2006, and we ended up in Salem. And Salem, it was during Halloween, just about this time. Actually, we just celebrated our 17th anniversary just Saturday. So they had like ghost tours and everything, and we thought, hey, let's go out and just kind of see what that's all about. It's no longer TV, this is real. And didn't really see anything, but I was so intrigued by it because the only TV show that was on at that point was Ghost Hunters, TAPS. It was before Ghost Adventures, and now it's just saturated. But I was always like, all right, when we get back, we're gonna start our own team, and I'm gonna go out and I want to find the truth. So that was our slogan. WPI stands for Wisconsin Paranormal Investigators, and we hunted the truth. And it was pretty cool. We had up to a team of 10. We were almost like the TV show, but I wasn't doing it for like fame or fortune or anything. It's just like I wanted to know what the truth was. So that's where we began that trip. And we did that from, 2007 to about 2013. And we would go from house to house. If we had a website, people requested for us to come out, we would do that. And but then, after so many years, all of a sudden, everybody was a paranormal investigator out there. So it became watered down and we weren't getting any calls. And I'm like, you know what? I'm 15 minutes away from Bray Road in Wisconsin. Anybody know Bray Road? All right. So you heard of the beast of Bray Road that was out there. And actually, I became friends with Linda Godfrey, rest in peace. She passed away last November. And it was about the dog man. And I'm like, hey, I didn't say that I didn't believe in, I said I didn't believe in Bigfoot, but dog man, werewolf, I'm on it. So we started doing that. Our team kind of filtered out a little bit because they wanted to do ghosts and stuff, but I started doing a lot of stuff with Bray Road with Linda Godfrey. And that actually ended up turning into somebody that was doing a Bray Road beast. Years ago, I had a sighting of the beast of Bray Road just right back here. So this was, somebody wanted me on one of their documentaries. The Travel Channel wanted me on one of their episodes to look for the what's it? Oh, hey, how you doing, Kim? That's Kim back there, everybody. Say hello.
Hi, Kim. I have Jay's shirt on too.
That's right, I made that. So I actually was, being recognized for that. But again, it wasn't about being in a documentary. It was not about being on the Travel Channel. Sure, that's all such a, it seems like that would be like, somebody's dream to be on TV. Even though my personality is probably made for TV, I still didn't want that watered down. I still wanted to know what the truth was. So after doing this with the Beast of Bray Road, we started ending up going further north, which we ended up in the Kettle Moraine. And the first time we were out there, it was there was like 4 of us. And I had a really crappy, digital tape recorder, IR night camera, and we were out there. And I'm no Outback Jack. I don't know every animal out there or anything like that, but we were out there in the dark. It was after 9 o'clock, perfect October. It was October 19th, actually, 2013, where we heard just this incredible, it sounded like a simian, like monkey, ape. But, could it have been a deer? Could it have been a fox or a cougar? They all make different sounds. So we looked in the soundboard that's online, and we looked at every indigenous animal, nocturnal and daytime, and we could not find a match. And that hit me. I'm like, this is something. This is pretty darn cool. So that's when I started making trips out there every weekend. By doing that, we're going to start here. I document everything. You can actually ask my kids back there who are by the table. I document everything. I'll record it. They'll say, Dad, live in the moment. Stop recording. Stop taking pictures. But with that being said, when I go out into the woods, I document everything, audio, video, and everything. So in 2017, I was asked to be a vendor, at one of these conventions. And I'm like, but I have nothing to vendor, I have nothing to sell. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll make up a cheap little DVD, sell it for $5 of just all my pictures and photos of the evidence I've had for the first 5 years being out there. And as I started doing that, it grew bigger and bigger. Next thing I knew, I had a documentary longer than Avengers Endgame. It was like 3 hours long. And so I really tried to whittle everything out and cut it down, but it's like 2 hours. And I got done with it, and I'm like, this was my way of telling people, this is what's happening to me out there. It's not, again, it was never for fame or fortune. This was for my journey of trying to understand the truth. So I created Finding Jay, and that is, actually I have a sequel that came out last year, 2022, Beyond the Kettle, Finding Jay 2. They're both streaming on Amazon Prime. I do have them available. This is not a plug, but anybody that likes hard copies, I have Blu-rays of both films. And it was that getting done with that was, the first one was like it was going to be my mic drop. It was like, hey world, I don't care with all the big stuff going on in the world, in California or Kentucky or wherever, this is happening here in Wisconsin, and it's happening to me. So I'm going to actually play both trailers for you really quick. My name is Jay Bachochin. I'm an investigator in Wisconsin who's searching for the truth. I've investigated ghosts. I've investigated UFOs. I even took a crack at solving an unsolved mystery. But all of that was put on hold just because of one night in the Kettle Moraine. Over there, left. Could it be Bigfoot? Does Bigfoot even exist? All I know is that something mysterious roams these woods, and I want to know what it is. Join me on my 5 years of research of 20 different people. Explain it, Eric.
I can't.
Explain how it's following us.
Why is that dangerous?
What could have done it? What could have thrown those rocks?
Lights and my Mars lights, overhead lights, and I hit my spotlight on it, and what I saw was a big surprise.
A sound of something coming through the trees, and there was a thunk right at our feet, and we realized that a rock had been flung from the woods to land precisely between us.
What the hell was that?
What is it?
If it hit him, it meant to kill him.
300 minimum?
Yeah, it's a big rock. Let's look.
Because I'm just trying to get past him. We're running for our lives at this point, and you hear right behind us, BAM!
This hill is where I heard the thump, not far off from where I'm standing.
I set out on a journey. A journey of mysteries. Do you see it? There's two! A journey of adventure. A journey to find the truth. Because all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them, to find them. Or will they find me? All right, that was the trailer for my first film. I'm just gonna entertain you with my second trailer from last year's.
Wisconsin's Kettle Moraine is considered one of nature's most beautiful landscapes. But beyond this beauty lies many mysteries. My journey continues as I seek more answers.
I think it's highly probable that Bigfoot or Sasquatch, if it exists, can be found in the state of Wisconsin.
And during our hikes, we've been encountering strange balls of light and other light anomalies. Is there a connection between Bigfoot and these lights?
Many people want to simply look at the creature as an undiscovered ape, and that may well be the case. However, there's no denying that there are situations, encounters that have been reported, where people experience seeing one of these creatures, but also other strange phenomena at the same time.
Either on the top of the trees or right through the trees, but it seemed like it glowed. I don't know.
We get into quantum physics. We find that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. You can find the vibration of something, the frequency of it. You can manipulate it because it works that way in quantum physics.
I don't give it any kind of supernatural or demonic type of being, because why not? Because they have been very passive and act very much like primates in their home range when they stumble upon, or when we stumble upon them in the forests.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yes.
I've seen these trailers so many times. It's just like, come on already. Sorry. But those are the two trailers that I have out, just to give you a little taste of what I've been going through now for 10 years. This October has been 10 years since I've been doing it. I want to start it out to talk about my 3 rules to a successful hike. And the number one, and I'm sure my son could repeat that for me because I have it lodged in his head, it's safety first. A lot of things come with safety, but when you're out in the woods, a lot of things can go south on you. And, you know, from, where's Kim? Kim, never go out alone. You never know what's going to happen to you out there. I mean, come on, you can get lost. You know, you got to think about what different type of predator animals out there. There's people with Jason masks out there. You don't know what's going on out there. And anybody know David Plotty's Missing 411 about the books? There are people that go missing in national state forests, and it's a fact. Is it Bigfoot related? Is it Dogman related? We don't know, but that's the case of what it is. So it's basically, when I go out, I always alert my whereabouts all the time. Do it to a trustworthy person. That's what I do. I always text my wife when I arrive, what area, and when I leave, and she knows the area, because she says, if I ever die out in the kettle, she's going to kill me. So it's always a good one. And number 3, when you're out there, always protect yourself. All right, so I don't actually go out there guns ablaze in here like Rambo, but you know what? I do. I'll carry my machete, bear spray, and my cold steel, and a 2500 lumens, because I hike a lot at night. Now people say, how is a flashlight a weapon? Well, you know what? It'll blind anything and I'll have the upper hand. So it's like, you know, you gotta take care of protecting yourself. During the summer, this is just, I think, common sense for people that go out into the woods. Make sure that you put on your off for those ticks and mosquitoes that carry diseases out there. Now, I don't work for Sawyer, but this Promethin right here, you can buy at Walmart for $9.99. You spray this stuff on your clothes. It'll stay on your clothes for up to 6 washes, and it will keep every tick off you. I've not had a tick since April 2014 because I use this religiously. I think I keep Walmart and Amazon well stocked. You know, going out again, this is what I always try to pack. I always bring water. Always bring a real compass. Don't rely on your phone because sometimes service might not be out there and you could get turned around. I always bring a power bank for my phone just in case. And of course, food, whatever your food. I don't usually bring that. I'll bring beef jerky. And it's not a Sasquatch stick either. But it's something I like to snack on. And so I always say safety first. But number 2, know your surroundings. People always say, Jay, why don't you go hike up, up north or wherever you're going to go? Well, I don't really know those areas yet. I'd have to study them. because there's so much that you need to know about those areas. Of course, I always say, know your trails. You can get turned around in any woods out there. You have to know the landmarks, what wildlife is out there. If I went to like Washington State, it's a lot different than hiking in the Kettle. So, it's knowing your surroundings is a big one. And of course, what time of the year is it right now? That's how come, you don't want to run into this guy. You got to know the rules and regulations. So if you're asking right now if I'm out in the woods looking, not right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. Because I do go at night. They should be out of their stands, but you never know. It's always a risk going out there. But that's why I always try to wear bright colors. A lot of times I see people that go out in the woods, hiking, looking for Bigfoot, doing something. They're all decked out in camo. And I'm not trying to sneak around. I'm actually trying to attract them to me. The colors are just so I don't get accidentally shot by a rogue hunter or anything like that, but it makes sense. Anytime I take the kids out, I always make sure they have either a blaze orange hat or something yellow to wear on them. And of course, this is my third rule. Hey, when you're out there, if you're doing this, I like to say nothing always happens every trip out. I would say, I could almost say 9 out of 10 times, generally nothing happens out there. That could be a month, month and a half, 2 months. And even when it does happen, it's inconclusive. So you want to go out with the fact of you're having fun, being outdoor in natures, being with friends. And here's just a few fun shots that I like to do when I'm out there. So yes, that's what I'm saying. It's you can't always take it serious or anything like that. Some of the equipment and techniques I use. This here is my way of doing it. There's a lot of people that actually say, don't bring anything, depending, right? If you look at everything here, it looks like I'm trying to capture the golden grail of, like the Patterson-Gimlin film, and to try to prove it. At this point, maybe in the first couple years, I was really trying to gather that evidence to prove it, to prove to people that, hey, Jay now believes in Bigfoot, and this is the reason why. But, at this point, I realize people are going to have their opinions one way or another. But I'm like, you know what? I carry my iPhone with me. I have a body cam on, and I use a FLIR thermal imager, and it kind of looks like this on me. All right, this was a couple of years ago, actually. Boy, I needed to shave there. But I load up with equipment. But then, I started feeling kind of like a Borg. I felt like a robot, like I had so much technology on me that I feel like I was creating a barrier between me and nature. And I had all this stuff on me. So I started to take, a lot of stuff out. Like I'll still sneak an audio device on me because you never know, right? For anything, if I want to prove anything, I want to take it home to my wife saying, look at this. She supports me, don't get me wrong. But I still think she needs to see the proof. And then she'll still say it's a guy in a costume. But that's okay. So like I said, when I go out there, I'm not looking to prove and to tell everybody here that Bigfoot is real. This is for me. I just love talking about it, and I love talking to people who are interested about that. So when I go out there, I'll actually do hand signals, and I'll talk to the woods, and I'll usually hear the raccoon and possum laugh at me when I do it. But you know what? I'm doing it because it's a matter of respect. I'm coming into their home. I'm coming into their way of existence. And this is the way I feel. It's the way I believe. So I always give them greetings. I'll do some music. I don't know if anybody remembers Say Anything from the 80s with the boombox. I'll do that with my iPhone. And a lot of times you think when you're out there hiking that you are going to hike for miles and miles. I like to get to a certain spot and just stop. And what did I say? Wait and have patience. It really is. It's like fishing, with not like lure fishing. It's like a bobber in the water, and you're just sitting out in the water, and you're waiting for that bite. So this is what I've been trying to practice, so that when I go out there, that's exactly what I do. That's what I recommend, actually. Here's some of my experiences, what I call trace evidence. Trace evidence, of course, to me means I didn't see what left anything, what made that noise, what knocked down a tree. So this is all kind of just my way of looking at it, saying everything that I've learned about what Bigfoot behavior was happening to me in the Kettle Moraine. Now, a lot of times people are always like, well, somebody's set up out there. They know you're out there. They're going to try to, mess with you. And that's true. You don't know what's going on out there. But just take a look at this here. This is like a little video. It's just going to kind of show some of my footprints I've caught over the years. And these are my documentaries too. That's the cast that's sitting back there if you want to take a look at it. It's my first cast. And I did a 3D image of this to kind of give when I'm showing it on video a little bit better depth than just a picture. So this is like the 3D image, the final rendering. This 3D imager is great because I actually take it out in the field, and if I see any type of weird divot, I can actually use the imager to kind of take a look at it instead of just taking pictures. All right, and those are just some of the footprints that I found out there. That's not even all of them. I didn't want to bore you for another hour or two. I have a lot. There are some things out there that I don't know what left them. That's one of the things, is that's the source, right? That's the one piece we're missing, is what left those. Could it be a hoax? Absolutely. But at the same time, depending on where it's at, you kind of have to look at it by saying, is it, is the possibility or the probability of something that large leaving, footprints out there. I mean, it really is crazy. This is actually kind of new. This here is, since I can't really spend the night out there in, in the Kettle. They do have campgrounds, but they're not in my area. So, a lot of the areas that you're going in, they kind of close the park per se, at 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'm out there till 1. I just have to, make sure I mind what I'm doing. And I'm not saying break the law, anybody, okay? There's a few, different ways I can get in there with doing that. But this past August, I left a brand new recorder that I have. It actually can record up to 16 hours. It's a lithium battery. It's like the best thing. I found it off Amazon. And I'm like, I'm going to leave this out overnight in the Kettle to see what I caught. I cataloged over 800 different sounds, and I'm saying anything from raccoons to owls, fox. But the really weird thing is sometimes it was so quiet out there, it almost sounded like somebody was walking around very lightly, almost like you're sneaking up on something. And it's really hard to tell. Again, I didn't see, this is just all audio, but here's a very weird vocal that I caught. Oh, it's okay. Oh, that was a good scream, yeah. All right, so you're gonna hear some background noise. Try to listen in closely. There's a few sections that have something in the background besides the crickets of the woods here. And if I have to play it again, let me know. All right, so, what I caught from that was, the first thing I like to do is I don't like to just jump the gun and just say, that was Bigfoot howling. But I tried to find out what other type of animal or bird makes that type of whoop sound. The other part could have been a cross between bobcat, cougar, I don't know, possibly. But at the same time, it almost sounds like it takes this weird breath. And sometimes people will say Bigfoot mimics different animals of the woods. And again, I don't know. I don't have one in the garage to say mimic. Do an impression, So I have to remain on that line where, yes, I do believe, but I want to know what I'm catching. Now, the interesting thing is I actually sent this to an audio studio place in New York where they're actually able to isolate just the sound. So you don't hear the background. So you can hear like a lot of dead sounds until the bars get to where the sounds are. Now this is not enhanced, this is just isolated. So that's isolated. Again, this was happened at 2:30 at night on August 19th out in the kettle. And I was very fortunate to capture stuff like that because you can hear, once you're immersed in it, when I used to do the ghost hunting days, I would put the headphones on and you listen for an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, which is recorded at lower than what humans can hear. So when the recorder picks it up and you play it back, you can hear an EVP. When I'm doing the kettle, that's what I'm doing, is I'm actually jumping back in the kettle, and that recorded, this segment only recorded 8 hours, but I was 8 hours on my headphones and just re-immersed again, and I knew exactly where the recorder was. I knew where sounds were coming from. So to me, it was very intriguing. Let's see. So I'll make sure I click on this, because this was pretty cool. This happened in 2014. I'm hiking with hiking partner Sanjay, and as we're walking around the kettle, we keep hearing what sounds like acorns falling. But we soon realized they were not acorns. They were little pebble stones being thrown from out of the woods. A lot of times you could say, well, somebody could just be out there, again, just messing with you and just throwing stones at you. But I also heard that Bigfoot likes to throw stones and throw them at you. Here's the one crazy thing, is they just weren't coming through the trees. They were always landing by our feet. And that really kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, we were still walking, so it's not like somebody was walking through there. Number one, we would hear them, but the terrain back there is crazy. So I'm like, how is this going for another 50 yards, 75 yards, and we're doing bends, and the rocks are still aimed at our feet. So finally we get to this one spot, and they stopped for about a minute or two. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pick up a rock myself, and I'm going to throw it to where the sound is coming from. And this is what happens. So right when you hear a loud knock, that's actually me, because I'm recording, and I throw a rock and I hit the side of a tree. I couldn't hit the side of a barn, but I hit the side of a tree. And then listen to what happens after I hit the tree. So I'm bending over, throwing a rock.
Oh, that was good. That was great.
Now it's going to hit me again because I threw a rock.
Well, it's interesting it landed.
What is that?
That was not an acorn.
Here it comes again.
Yep. Now you saw me turn around because the week before I was in a different part of the kennel with Linda Godfrey, and I got pegged in the head with a rock. And that's why in that first documentary, she said if it hit me, it meant to kill me. I mean, I don't know, but at this point, when rocks are flying, I don't care what you say, getting hit with a rock hurts, and it really does. So they're just being flung at us from unknown. And at this point, what do you do? You know, I didn't care if it was Bigfoot or a person or a hunter or whatever. They're throwing rocks and we're vulnerable. So I was like, yeah. But this was really weird because we walked this whole time, and the biggest thing I can say about the rocks is that there's no way, because I've been back there, there's no way somebody could have traversed over all that without making a sound and be able to have that accuracy. You saw me, I was just throwing a rock out there, and I was lucky enough to hit a tree. You know, my son, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Did you notice, was it the same rock you threw that was thrown back at you?
No, the ones that came back, they always seemed to be about pebble size. I remember the one I had was a medium size. That's what really made that loud knock. And you know, there was that one point where my son made that observation in my first film, where he said, think about the accuracy, no matter what, no matter how, if you're the best hunter, the best bow hunter, and you're out in those woods and you want to hit me, what's the chances that it's not going to hit anything obstructing it? It was the accuracy that really got me. It was the long walk. It was the bends and the way they kept up with us. It didn't make sense to me. So that was one that I really wanted to, oops, we don't need to see that one again. Yeah. Now, I know this is not smell-o-vision. I tried to get some really rotty, you know, putrid smell, because that's what it smells like. But I do, like I said, I document everything. So this is just one little instance of me and my buddy Chris out there where this smell was following us. No wind. Now, I know there's air current, but there was absolutely no wind, no sound. And there was a smell there, super strong, and just like that, gone. So you're thinking, all right, you're in an uncontrolled environment. It's got to be a dead deer, right? You know what a mouse smells like if you kill it and it lives in your wall. It was really, really putrid. The only thing I could really say about it is raw chicken in a garbage on a 100-degree day, leave it there for about 3 days, pick up some dog poop, throw that in there. And anything that you would lift up and just gag, that's what it smelled like, because you hear people talk about it, but it's hard to describe. It was just so putrid. This is Chris's reaction, where Chris is borderline, but he's just like, what the heck? There it is. There it is.
That's...
Here, let me see that light. What do you got?
I got a smell of rotten
Tell
flesh.
me.
I got a smell of what I'm calling rotten flesh, musty, rotten flesh, and it seems to move with us.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
We'll go 30, 50 yards and not smell anything, and then we'll catch a whiff of it, small whiff of it. We'll go another 25, 50 yards, and it's a much stronger smell.
Yeah, and
it's been 500-600 yards now.
Can you smell that now?
I smell it.
Yeah, I smell it.
And it seems to be going with us.
So that was the first time that I ever smelt it. I've smelt it 4 other times since then. Always the same, maybe a little different at times, but it's still very putrid, and it just comes from nowhere. You know, a lot of times people thought we were joking at first, because Chris was hiking ahead of me, and I didn't know if he had chili that night. And a lot of people thought, yeah, well, no wonder it stinks really bad if you're following someone. But all jokes aside, that really did happen, and it's still unknown. We've asked a lot of people. I've asked a lot of hunters. Nobody can give me an answer except that, you know, maybe a coyote is dragging around some kill, or, you know, something that it killed and it just stunk. But Again, there was no wind. It was completely silent. And for it to be there and not be there, it doesn't make sense. So that's, again, I don't have smell-o-vision, but it's what I smelt out there. Oop, we don't need to see Chris again. Okay, anybody hear about infrasound? Okay, anybody hear that Bigfoot can do infrasound, right? Well, really, what is infrasound? We'll start with that. It's kind of like that EVP, that real low frequency. That's usually heard between 15 to 20 hertz of what the human can't hear, but it is going on. There are a few, definitely nature that can do it. You see volcanic eruptions, earthquake jets, alligators, tigers, they can have that so deep that you can't hear it, but it just goes inside you. And there are side effects to that. All right, and you could look up anything scientific because that's just like what I would have done, It's like you can get the vertigo in your ear, whatever this infrasound can do, can give you a headache, can give you a fast heart, can give you nausea. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's happened to me 3 times out there to where all of a sudden I am ready to just throw up on the spot. Now, okay, I had somebody was recording, and I didn't really want them to record me puking. But just beyond that spot by a couple feet, I was totally fine. And after, and let me just play this first. Pretty much before I took this turn here. And it's going away now. I literally was about to puke. Something with my stomach, nausea coming right through here. That's when I said, pull out your camera just to, not to see me puke, but to let you know, I don't know what, it's gone now. But I had an instance of like a total upset stomach and like nausea, like you're about to throw up. I feel okay now, but it was right through here. Ugh. I don't even want to look at it. When I look at it, I feel like throwing up again. And like I said, it was really weird. I didn't overexhaust myself. We were climbing kettles and that. It wasn't that cold out, but I still was keeping cool. And it was just really, really bizarre that it just overcame me like that. And it's happened to a few other people that I've taken out too, where they feel fine, and all of a sudden they're like bowling over, just ready to throw up, and we just kind of walk away from that spot, and then all of a sudden, just like me, it just goes away. Again, I don't know. These are just things that have happened to me out in the kettle. Could they be Bigfoot related? There could be many different things, but that was definitely one of them. There's definitely a lot of weird tree structures that I found out there. You'll see some of these in my documentary as well, that some of these, the way they're not made like Survivor or Naked and Afraid or whatever, where they're building huts and everything like that. It's almost what I want to call, and this is what I say, I call it Bigfoot art, because there are things that are built like cathedrals out there that would take machine and a lot of people to do. Yeah, I always say, can people do this? And the answer would be, yeah, right? You can go out there and throw sticks together and everything, but when you're out there, you're looking at different structures, maybe the way they're pointing, maybe how high they are. Not so much for a shelter. I don't know if you guys can see this one, but it's almost like a tree on top of like a 3-story tree. And it didn't break off from any other tree, so it almost looks like a nest up there. It's weird things like that. And again, I document everything. Now, you'll see this. I didn't catch these. This is my first documentary. I do a computer simulation of it. Because has anybody ever heard that you see something really cool, but you didn't take your camera out to take a video or a picture of it? That's living proof, because I'm watching one set of eyes. The guy, 2 other guys I was with, were like, there's one, and we're looking at him. And I call them eyes because my brain is going to matrix those as eyes. I don't know what was behind it. You know, a lot of times people say, could it have been eye shine? No, we had no flashlights on it. There was no full moon. They look like, you know, those lasers you play with cats, the red ones, without, I mean, like not having a beam or anything, but they were that bright red and they were together and they would just pop in at different heights, different sizes, and then go out one by one. And at that point, again, you're like, oh, wait, I have my camera, I have video. I could have been doing all this and I didn't. But I do have it all recorded on audio, so. This is in my second documentary. We have caught some really strange lights out in the woods. I don't know if there is a correlation, a connection between the lights, just because, you know, if you go into an old house and you hear a creak, automatically it's a ghost. It's not a Bigfoot in the house. It's not an alien in the house. It's always a ghost. So when you're out in the woods and you hear that, you automatically go to, it's a Bigfoot. Well, what is a Bigfoot anyway? And then you're seeing these lights, so now you're saying, okay, wait, so is Bigfoot physical and it can turn into lights and it gets away from people? I don't know those answers, but that's what I'm out there trying to do. I'm constantly documenting to help learn behavior of lights, different Bigfoot behavior, and you know, maybe one day I will put it together. If not, I told Blake, my son, that he's my legacy, so he has to carry on after Dad's gone. You got to keep going. A lot of times people are always going to ask me, so out of these 10 years, have I ever had a sighting? Were you guys wondering that? You were. I knew that. See, I was smart. Well, I did. I've had some different sightings at night that look like shadows, and they look like they rock, they move. Then all of a sudden it looks like they're on a, you know, like on a clothesline or something where they just glide. But it was always at night, so I really didn't know. I saw one that looked like a gangling chimpanzee sitting on all fours, and it was in the winter and it was snowy ground, so I could see everything like an animal, like a silhouette in the dark. And I'm looking at what this gangly chimpanzee on all fours, and all of a sudden it just moves behind a tree, but it doesn't move. It's like it's on a cart with wheels, like somebody was pulling it. And again, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a body cam on or anything. I just recorded my reaction to it. And of course I was with somebody, but they were looking that way, I'm looking this way. So again, it all comes down to, you know, your own personal sighting. But again, what could they have been? It's still misidentification at night, right? Didn't really get to see anything. Well, until this past March, and I had my first daytime sighting. And no, I did not get a picture of it. I'm going to show you what it looked like. But you know, the universe is a funny thing, right? Cosmic joke on Jay. Have body cam this way, look this way, have my sighting here, not recording. So that's kind of how it was. I was kind of facing this way, where I had my sighting was this way. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, okay, because it was about 80 yards. But you would think 80 yards would be far until this is what I saw. And it moved from left to right. I only got maybe 2 seconds of it, but it was just like pitch black. And this was during the day, and it came from nowhere. I had a whole wide look of the whole woods in front of me. And because this was March, so you could actually see through the trees and everything. And all of a sudden, there it was. It just came from nowhere, and it went to nowhere. It went behind a couple trees to the right there, and it should have kept going. If it was a deer, a person, something, it should have kept going, and it didn't. It was just there. But doing this for 10 years now, it was more, this was my time. Like, who's going to believe Jay now? Because this is what Jay does. You know, he's out looking for Bigfoot, so now he's going to find Bigfoot. At this point, all I'm trying to do is actually make contact. And that sounds crazy. It might be dangerous for what I do, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to bank off this. I'm not trying to prove this. I'm just saying what happened to me in my journey here. Because, there's, 8 billion people in the world today. Well, close to 8 billion, we'll say approximately. And each one of them has their own truth. Think about that. There may not even be a single truth anymore. So what I always tell people is go out and discover it for yourself. Because I could be up here, the best snake oil salesman, the best speaker, great documentary. How do you really know unless you go out and find that truth yourself? So I don't like to see myself as just a Bigfoot hunter, because I never say that. I never say I'm going squatched. I never say I'm going Bigfooting. I'm going hiking. I'm on this journey. And this journey in my life, whether I'm making movies or out in the field or doing casts, presenting up here or working, or just like I'm doing here, presenting. You guys are part of my journey. Isn't this awesome? Right? The 10 years. So, with that, I want to thank everybody for coming and listening to me.